Hello everybody, my name's Todd. I am a Christian missionary and an evangelist. I am out here today to share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I am not the people that you've experienced here in the past. I'm not affiliated with them. Several people have asked me that already. I am not here to condemn anyone by calling you rotten names. It has happened where people have called me rotten names. I'm used to that, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to point you to Christ. And the reason I say point you to Christ is because I don't want you to focus on me. I don't really want you to just focus on my words. I want you to hear that I'm not pointing to myself as a standard of righteousness or holiness. There is one place where a perfect standard of righteousness and holiness can be found, and that is in the Christian scriptures. There is only one place where we can find perfect righteousness fulfilled in a human being, and that is in the God-man, Jesus Christ. And when I say God-man, I mean that. He is 100% God. He is 100% man. I do not say was, I say is, because to this day, Jesus is in a human body, a glorified human body, sitting at the right hand of the Father, where he went after he came and lived a life that we could not live, was crucified, died, buried, resurrected, and then ascended. Jesus tells a parable in his ministry here on earth. In the 3 years that he was in public ministry, he would tell these parables. And parables are stories meant to tell us a moral tale. And one of the parables that Jesus tells us is about a rich man and a man named Lazarus. Lazarus was a beggar. He was a leper. He had nothing. The scriptures describe him as living outside of the rich man's property, begging for food. It happens that Lazarus and the rich man both die. Lazarus finds himself in what the Jewish people, the Israelites, referred to as the bosom of Abraham. The rich man finds himself in hell. The rich man at one point, suffering for his sin and his lack of belief, calls out to Abraham where Lazarus is being comforted, and he calls on Abraham to reach across the abyss to give him just a single drop of water to quench his thirst. Abraham refuses, and then the rich man asks Abraham to send Lazarus back from the dead to warn his family about what happened to him, so that they would turn to God and be forgiven. Abraham says, they've had the law, they've had the prophets, they've had the teaching of all of the prophets, of all the books of the Old Testament, and they still rejected the message. Sending Lazarus back was not going to convince them. And that we today are much like the rich man. We think that we need a little bit of evidence. Just the right amount of evidence will convince us to believe. I run into this frequently with people who claim to be atheists. Well, if I had some evidence, I would believe in God. If I could be somehow brought into the presence of God, I would believe. Atheists tell me that all the time. They say to me, where's your evidence? Where's God? Where's your evidence of God? And I ask them, what evidence will convince you to believe? And so if you're walking by and you're an atheist and you say there's no evidence for God, but if there was, you would believe, I will ask you, what kind of evidence would convince you to believe in God? My challenge is, what I've discovered most of the time is that it's an excuse. Most atheists say they would believe if there was evidence, and then when you present evidence, they tell you, well, that doesn't line up with what I believe. And so my hope today is for you to understand that while I recognize and understand why people claim to be atheists, I don't believe in atheists. I don't have any evidence that atheists are real. And the reason that I say that is because atheists do not live according to their own worldview. If atheists lived according to their own worldview, they would never declare anything to be right or wrong. They would just say, it is what it is. And so, most atheists at best are agnostic. And when I say agnostic, there is a clear difference between agnostics and atheists. Atheists say, I know for a fact there is no way in the world that there can be any God. An agnostic says, I don't know, but I know I don't believe. So if you're an atheist today, I would actually love to have a conversation with you. I'm not unreasonable, and I promise you that unlike a lot of the people that you might know who are Christian or claim to be Christian, I am actually capable of reasonable, philosophical conversation. I can do that. So if you are an atheist, please stop and engage with me. I have no animus towards you. I am not your enemy. I actually enjoy the conversations. I look forward to them. On the other hand, if you are out here today and you consider yourself to be spiritual, but not Christian per se, because you don't believe in religion, then I'd like to talk to you as well. And the reason that I say that is a lot of people who would say that they're Christian, but they're only spiritual, don't understand that the Bible never condemns religion. The Bible never, ever condemns religion. In fact, the Bible actually gives us a definition of what pure and good religion is. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm Todd. I'm not too bad. Huh? Hard to be bad on a day like this.
Very nice day out.
What's your name?
Tim.
Tim? So did you stop because you heard me?
Yeah, I was kind of curious what was going on.